We're good? All right. Wow, I'm hot. Good morning and welcome to Bible class. Glad to see each of you here. We've got a kind of a small crowd this morning, but we'll make the most of it. So we've all seen the bumper sticker on the cars through our lifetime that says, "Let me tell you about my grandchildren." Haven't we? Well, I can relate to that. Let me tell you about my grandchildren. That's our class this morning. Except, one, we may not have enough time. There may not be enough time in here for me to tell you what I want you to know about that. Number two, it may not mean quite as much to you as it does to me. Talk about all these little guys. But we're going to draw some, we're going to summarize. I'll give you a summary about my grandchildren and your grandchildren and children and whatever. But we're going to summarize that. So, birthday, we're having a baby, we have a baby, here it is. What do we do? Well, there's lots of celebrating. There's lots of congratulations. The baby's healthy and the baby does what a baby does. There's lots of, it eats. There's lots of diapers. There's lots of cleaning. There's lots of caring. There's lots of just tending to it. And for each of them, after some time, they start to roll over. We're excited about that. They're making their cooing sounds and they're doing their, they're laughing at you. Whatever. They start to crawl. But still, every day, they're eating. There's diapers. They're cleaning up after them. They're taking care of them. They're tending to them. Soon enough, they're starting to talk. And they talk and they walk. They make you smile, they make you laugh. Still, there's some basic needs to be taken care of. They're still eating every day, multiple times. There's still diapers to be changed. They're still cleaning up after them. They're still picking your stuff off the floor, this kind of stuff. They start to, after they start to walk, they also start they're falling down. So there's plenty of skint knees and bruises and bumps and what happened to your head and all that kind of stuff. Still, these basic needs that these kids need, we make sure they get it. You got to address discipline. As kids are young and starting to learn, you got to discipline them when they need it. So that's got to be in there. Then they start riding things, tricycles and bicycles and cars and push carts and whatever. If it's got wheels, they're on it. Even if they're not supposed to be on it, they'll get on a little truck this big and go down a hill. I've seen it this past week even. There's more bumps, there's more bruises, there's more, there's always eating. There's always learning. They're learning new things. They're excited about that. And we're teaching them. We always give them instruction. Soon enough, they start school. So the homework piles up. They're learning more and more. They learn how to get along with others. Learn to obey and follow the rules. They're still disciplined. They're still the basic stuff that's got to get them by. So our kids and grandkids start out as helpless, completely dependent on somebody else. They grow incrementally, day by day, until you look around. They're not infants. They're not children. They're fully grown. They're mature. They're even raising their own kids. So even then, though, some of these basic things that they needed from day one, they still got to have. Some of the basic things to take care of them. Let's turn our Bible to the book of Luke. Go to Luke chapter 2. And somebody, if you would, read verse 52. Luke 2:52.
And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and men.
He increased. What does that indicate? He grew. Okay? He grew. He grew in wisdom. We talked about this recently. What is wisdom? Okay? It's applied knowledge, isn't it? So he grew in wisdom. So the things he learned how to deal with them. He learned how to use those things he learned, the things he knew. And he grew in stature. That means he didn't stay a baby. He grew up to a boy, to a man. So physically he grew up. And he also grew in favor with God. So God approved of him. God approved of who he was, of how he had grown up, how he had become. And he also had grown in favor with man. That's what I get out of that verse. He grew up. That's what these grandkids, that's what these kids do. They grow up. And when they grow up right, that's what you see Jesus did here. Mentally, he grew up. Physically, he grew up. He was approved by God. He was approved by man. I mean, he became a full man. So isn't that what we work for and want for our kids and grandkids? To get them grown up? Maybe eventually get them out of the house. I mean, that's going to be we do want that too for them. But we want them to increase in wisdom and stature, and also in favor with God and man. When they got here, we didn't expect them to be fully grown. That'd be weird. Here's a baby, but he's 30 years old. What? That don't happen. We also don't expect them to stay babies. I wish you would stay just like this. No, you don't. No, you don't. There's a problem if a child stays immature to the point of physically or mentally or whatever growing. There's an issue. That's not what we want for them. So if they stay there, then we're dealing with something else. But we nurture, we love, we correct, we encourage, we enjoy them from day one till through their lives. We watch them mature at all these different stages in their life. They are growing up, and they're there for us to enjoy. And we've got a job to do. They're doing their part by growing. We got to do our part by helping them. So enough about my grandkids and yours. What about the church? What is the church's role in our spiritual growth? And I'm going to start from a spiritual baby, from that perspective. We meet people at all different places. People come into KW at all different levels of spiritual maturity. But I'm going to take us from the baby, from the infant, and grow them up to full grown is what we're looking at. And anybody that comes in along the way can, they'll just fit in at a different place than where we're actually starting this conversation. Turn to 1 Corinthians chapter 3. 1 Corinthians 3, we'll read verses 1 and 2 to start. Apostle Paul writing to the church of Corinth, "And I, brethren, could not speak to you as spiritual people, but as to carnal, as to babes in Christ. I fed you with milk and not solid food, for until now you were not able to receive it, and even now you are still not able." There's a couple things there that he says, you started out as babies, and I fed you the milk that you needed. And it appears that they've grown to a point that they should be eating some solid food. He said, you still can't accept what I need to share with you. You still can't digest the solid food. You still need that milk, and you should be beyond that. So he's kind of fussing at them at this point. Skip on down to verse 'I wrote it down wrong. Bear with me. I got it. Chapter 4 and verse 14. 4:14. "I do not write these things to shame you, but as my beloved children, I warn you." So he's gone on through, this letter that he's written to them. He said, "I'm not telling you this to shame you about this, but I'm telling you to warn you." So there's a difference between the shame that they could feel and the warning that he's intending. So he loves them, and he's warning them that there's going to be a problem if you don't get this dealt with, if you don't grow up, if you don't become who you need to be. So it's more than a shame. There's a problem that he's warning them about. So if I could get somebody to read 4:15 through 17.
But though you might have 10,000 instructors in Christ, yet you do not have many followers. For in Christ Jesus I have begotten you through the gospel. Therefore I urge you, imitate me. For this reason I have sent Timothy to you, who is my beloved and faithful son in the Lord, who will remind you of my ways in Christ as I teach everywhere in every church.
Okay. So he's warning them. He's talking about the 10,000 instructors. You can have a lot of people teaching you. He's not talking against that, but he's saying you got one daddy. You got one person that is treating you like that son, treating you like that grandson I mentioned earlier, that he loves you and he wants the best for you, and he's going to provide what you need. He said, I'm that to you because I have brought you into the gospel. I have begotten you through the gospel. So this is personal with him. He said, I've got a personal stake in you growing up and you maturing, you becoming who you need to be, approved by God, in favor with man. So verse 16, I urge you, I beg you, I implore you, imitate me. You want to know how you should be? Follow my lead. Do what I do. Do the, pour yourself into the church, into the work, into the gospel, into Christ, just like I do. He said, I'm giving you that good example. And since you're to this point that you're not where you could be, should be, I'm going to send Timothy to you. Timothy is my beloved and faithful son, so I've begotten him through the gospel. And I love him, and I love y'all. I'm going to send him. I've already sent him, is what it sounds like. I sent him to you. He will remind you of my ways in Christ. So my example, he's going to reshare that with you, just as I teach everywhere in the church. So he said, I'm going to send Timothy to help you to grow. So this is the church in Corinth who were dealing with a whole pile of issues, but they were spiritually immature. And that was a problem for Paul. He said, y'all need to be more fully grown than you are, so I'm going to send you some help. Timothy is on the way. So what did we unpack in those few verses there? That they should be more spiritually mature than they were. There was a warning. I'm warning you about this. Like, if you don't do it, there's going to be large problems ahead. So that he had begotten them, they were his spiritual children. And he sees where they still need some growth. They need some more nurturing, some more feeding, some more instruction. So just like those babies we talked about earlier, those daily needs still need to be daily met. You know, the feeding, it's still got to happen daily. If you're not eating daily, you're going to have some problems. So if you're not getting the nourishment that you need, well, he's turned this from a physical to a spiritual. He's talking about spiritual stuff here. So now this is the church in Corinth that Paul's talking to. So let's turn it back to KW. Let's look at home. This is our house. So how does KW help in our spiritual growth? Us in this room and us that are in these hallways. Give me some of your thoughts. How does KW help in this? Does KW help in this?
As the church, are we not the Timothy of the time? We were sent to help nurture those, to remind those how to set the example, I guess, to the world around us.
Okay. So set the example. What else? What's KW doing to the people in this room and the people down these hallways to do what Paul is doing with Timothy here?
We have classes to study in.
Okay.
And I'll tell people readily that you need to come to the classes because you learn more in classes than you do in one sermon. No offense, Chris. It's just the nature of the learning process because it's an interaction.
Okay.
More so than the sermon, it's strictly just one person talking to the crowd.
Okay. So we've got our Bible classes that we're encouraging people to come and be a part of. And you get some interaction, some conversation back and forth. So truly there's growth that happens there. Chris, I'll back you up here for a second. Truly, coming to class is a good thing. You want to grow more than that? Teach a class. You stand up here, the effort you put into putting one together is going to help you grow as well. So,
Right, so the teaching is feeding, and there's different levels. So is it milk or is it meat, right? And you got to have a well-rounded diet, because you have new Christians in the congregation, and then you have more mature Christians. You don't want to just cater to one side or the other, so you have to find tuning, right? You have to tune out the static to make sure that you're effective to all members.
okay.
I'll further impugn myself with that Charles's ideology, but the reality of the situation is that the reason why we call it a sermon, I call it a conversation. the reason why we have that conversation, and it's in such a unique way, is because, you know, I sit down, and, you know, I do this weeks in advance. You know, I keep the things packed up on me. But anytime I'm doing it, if I'm looking from now till June, I look at the congregation as a whole, and I realize that we've got all these levels of spiritual maturity. And because of that, you're challenged, just like you are right now, with a package deal of how do you provide a soup? Because, you know, the reality of the situation is that if you can't eat some of the stuff in the soup, you're going to leave it behind. But if there's some stuff in there that you really want, you know, in that soup, that you don't want any big old hunks of meat, you want to make sure you get that rascal out when you're fixing your bowl. And so, by design, the church would grow in its collective, but Jesus said it would grow in the individual. And so when he said, go into all the world and make disciples, he front-loaded that. And that happens individually, not in the collective, because there are collective things that we can talk about. And I'm going to talk about this morning, what do parents owe their children? That's a collective. But it's still yet will require an individual response. And so what we're going to have to do is if the church is really going to grow, is we're going to have to move away from the building. It's going to have to move away from the building to the point that this isn't something I dedicate, what is it, 2, 3, 4 hours a week or whatever to, but there are 4 hours a week that are blocked off. But the rest of the time is still just as important. And so I've got to see myself as somebody that needs somebody to help me grow. And on the other side of the coin, somebody that needs to help somebody else grow. And that happens in the individual. It happens with a cup of coffee. Or it happens with the sausage biscuits for breakfast, or a Chick-fil-A milkshake, or something like that, you know, or welding a boat for somebody. And that's how that happens. And that's the part that we've got to move Christianity from the corporate setting and into the home. And once we do that, then we start, because it's hard to rattle things out. You know, when you start talking with somebody, that's when you really start to kind of figure out. They're flushing things out. It's the same reason that Charles would say that class is better because there's an interactivity to it. And that's because you're flushing things out in your mind. Well, it's a whole lot more productive when it's an intimate setting. And so I think one of the things that we do good and need to do more of, you know, it's kind of like, you know, you're doing good, I do more of it, is the individual setting, you know, with each other. Because that's where real growth and real community and real disciple will happen.
Okay, so moving it from the corporate or our assembly to more to our everyday life, the way we live when we get up, when we go to bed, everything in between there is refocused and growing toward that maturity. And I caught in there, your needs are going to be different than somebody else's needs. So if you can help them with theirs, then you'll get other people to help you with yours. So I'll go back to what Jerry said. I'm just thinking about mamas fixing supper. Mama's got a challenge sometimes. You know, you're feeding the baby this, the next stage this, the next stage, and even when they're eating the same food, you know, we got food processors. You know, we chop up, you know, the big stuff to little stuff to feed the little kids. You know, because they can't handle the big stuff on a fork. Or, you know, so they're taking smaller bites of the same meal. Okay, so what else is KW doing specifically? What are we doing to help grow others? That's what we're talking about. As our family, as our theme, the family of God. You know, Paul was concerned for his kids, for his family that he had begotten through the gospel. What are we doing individually or corporately to grow others? Yes?
You know, Brian, I was just thinking, based on some of these great comments and so forth, and kind of follow up on what Chris said, I think that's totally the point. You know, we, modern Americans, bless our hearts, we've kind of lost focus, really. And we think the building is the church, and the formal meeting times is what you do to be a Christian. But like Chris said, really, and the way I think about it is, we've really got two kinds of worship. We've got gathered together worship, which we call going to church or something like that, which is, like Chris said, just a few hours a week. But then we've also got scattered apart worship, which is every Christian everywhere they are, all times that they're conscious, And so that's really what it is. But we kind of lose our focus. And we think it's just the gathered together worship. And we go through the motions and we kind of become, I think, a lot of times, modern day Pharisees. We want to be holy like the Pharisees. We try to figure it out like the Pharisees. And if we're not very careful, we think it's a series of things we need to do in a certain way. And we come and sing 3 songs and have a prayer and then do Lord's Supper. And we're good, right? But like Chris said, we're forgetting the 98.7% of our lifetime, which is not gathered here. It's worship somewhere else. We see threads like this through the scriptures. Go be a light in the darkness. Go be salt, etc., etc. That's like a 24/7 thing. Largely what I think Paul was writing to the Colossians and the Ephesians about. And of course, I always think about gathered together worship about this. I always think about Romans 12, where Paul said he uses this wonderful image of a body. We're all part of the body. Okay, and that's why we get together, right? We're all part of the body.
Right.
And while we have gifts that are given to us by the grace of God. And our job in gathered together worship, as well as scattered apart worship, I think, is to use those gifts. In Romans 12, Paul says, look, if your gift is giving, then give your brains out, basically. If it's teaching, then teach your brains out. If it's encouraging, wow, that's a great gift, isn't it? Then look around and see your brothers and sisters that are having a little tough time about something. And then use your special gift to go encourage them. And so it's like a service thing, I think. We got to find what our brothers and sisters need. See if it aligns with our gifts. And especially if it does, but even if it doesn't, try to serve each other. It's like in Ephesians where Paul said, it's kind of a complex linguistic thing. He says, submit one to another in most of our translations in English. Submit. Well, it doesn't mean submit, but that's what we got. Even the lingo tells you it can't be submit. So I'm supposed to obey you and you're supposed to obey me. Submit one to another. Now that means put yourself just a little smidge below everybody else. Because they're going to put themselves a little bit below you. And if everybody does that, just think, it's like maximum service and maximum encouragement and maximum fill in the blank. Instead of just showing up at a certain spot, Sunday at 9, Sunday at 10, singing 3 songs of prayer, communion, and then as quick as you can, rush out. See, we're missing the boat. I don't know how to make us miss the boat. But we're missing the boat, as it were.
Tom? Thank you, sir.
We carry a lot of historical baggage with us. It's just what we grew up around. We sing historically about the church. And so it's hard for us to kind of think differently. I shared a lot of scriptures the last year or two about really our assemblies. We do worship, but that's not really the purpose of those assemblies. The purpose is for us to edify one another. That was Paul's big point in 1 Corinthians 14 with all these gifts, people were trying to do what they wanted. No, it's supposed to be about building your brothers and sisters up. So everything needs to be done in decency and order, and we want to build each other up. Not everybody off doing their own thing, what they want, what they enjoy, what they get out of it. So literally in our assemblies, oddly enough, if you come here just for you to worship, you're not doing what God really challenged us to do, which is to help each other, to build one another up. And that gets back to what your class is about, helping us grow. I mean, really, if I come here and I'm not helping people, building them up, encouraging them, edifying them, doing things to stimulate their spiritual growth, I'm really not doing what God really wants me to do. Now, that's all done in this framework of praising and teaching and preaching and all those things, but it's still my responsibility to do all I can to build my brothers and sisters up. So your question, what do we do? That should be a primary thing we do. And everybody got to realize that's not just a few people's responsibility for this city. It's not just the quote preachers or just the teachers. It's really all our responsibility to be engaged and active and looking for people. And, you know, sometimes our structure actually gets in our way of this. It needs to be decent and in order, but still, our structure needs to be conducive to me and you and everybody, encouraging, edifying, and building one another.
Very good. Thank you.
I think I agree with everything. But we got to be careful that the structure is the reason that we're coming together to be able to do all of those things, right? And so the structure is that of what it is, and it's defined very clearly how we're supposed to worship in spirit and in truth, right? And so, but it's like the nucleus is the hub of how the church is supposed to perform and come together to do all the things, to be able to see the needs of each other, to be able to edify. So that structure is there for a reason, and we got to be careful not to lose that, as we go through this journey.
Thank you, sir.
So let's get back to your question. What does KW do?
So to put all that together, and I like Glenn's, our come together worship and our scattered apart worship. What is KW doing specifically to help people grow? I'm not talking about this class. What are some things that we're doing to accomplish this?
Well, first and foremost, we've got to realize that, number one, we're fulfilling the Great Commission. We're going everywhere we can and teaching everybody we can. And so there are multiple opportunities, really daily, at KW for people to grow in doing Bible studies or being a part of a Bible study. So that's one thing that we do collectively.
So these Bible studies, setting up and conducting these Bible studies to bring people into the church.
More babies.
To make more babies, yes.
Right.
So that's...
While we're making those babies, we're also growing our babies.
There you go.
So, the blessing of it is that, like on Wednesday night, there's probably, 15 or 20 people, now scattered throughout the building doing Bible studies. Well, all those people in those Bible studies are at different levels of maturation, but they're being active participants in discipling. And so I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, wouldn't it be a blessed day when we got to stick another night of the weekend because we got so many Bible studies on Wednesday night that there's the teacher and two people here, in the auditorium. And that'll be a blessing, right?
Yep.
Okay, we're going to have to move our Wednesday nights to Tuesday nights now, because Wednesday nights we're jam up, on Bible studies. Well, the reality of that situation is that we are actively involved in discipling and teaching the gospel. And that's one thing that we do at KW. The second thing I thought about was you guys are actively trying to blend us together. In other words, there is no male or female or slave or free or Jew or Greek or rich. all these kind of dynamics of dichotomy that Paul shows within classes and citizenry, you guys are doing a good job of trying to help us blend those things, like our groups and our extracurricular things, those things. I think that's certainly a blessing that you guys are with us.
Thank you, sir. And that's kind of getting toward what I wanted to cover this morning. So I listed some things down that I see that KW is doing to help grow from little babies all the way up to fully mature. Because guess what? The most fully mature spiritual person we have still needs to eat. They still need to be eating the spiritual food. So I listed down Bible classes, our opportunities to learn and to share, like Charles said, to interact. I listed Bible classes as opportunities to teach, which I mentioned earlier. We have mission trips that we greatly encourage each of us to go be a part of. You want to be good at sharing the gospel here? Why don't you go learn on foreign soil? It's so easy. Here, we'll struggle to get, to ask somebody for a Bible study, and we'll hopefully have one with them one day, and it'll happen, and then we'll set another one up for next week. You go to Honduras, you're having 10 studies in a day. I mean, they're coming to your table just as fast as you can turn around. They're coming to you. So you're practicing, you're learning, you're growing there. That happens. Go to Tanzania. I mean, you can open a Bible in Tanzania and stand there, and there'll be a dozen people come ask you, "What are you doing? What are you talking about here? What is this book you have in your hand?" So those are great opportunities for each of us to participate in, to go and grow, and then as you've grown there, you come back here, engage. Stick it in gear here, put it in another gear. So our mission trips are a great opportunity to practice and to learn how to teach. We have opportunities to serve, to help people grow. I listed down Next Tech. We got a great outreach there, and Chris is begging for. We need people to come sit in on these studies. It's a great place for us to plug in. We've got Vacation Bible School. Jay's going to be reaching out to people or others to we need teachers. We need people to serve. We need to, we want to reach the kids. We're going to want to reach the parents too. There's opportunities through our Vacation Bible School, Bible Camp. Our teens are all down at the Bible Camp this week or this weekend. But it also happens in summertime. And some of us have been in there a lot. And it's a great place to, help grow these kids, help grow, the adults there, the staff that are there as well. So there's opportunities to leave these walls to go be a part of, or not necessarily all leave these walls, but to be a part of a structured something that's reaching out to people. We have opportunities to interact with people. I listed down, just look on your calendar, upcoming. We got an egg hunt coming up here in just a couple of weeks. Our fall festival, great place to bring folks to and meet folks there. We have our fish fry, should be coming up in May. Invite your friends. When you get here, hey, I didn't bring a friend today. Well, guess what? Go meet everybody else's friend. Interact with these people. Encourage somebody. So we've got those opportunities. Our first Sunday suppers, that's a big deal. We may think it's coming together to eat. It's not about eating. There's food there, yes. But it's more than eating. It's the conversations we're having. It's the, how did you do this week? How did I do this week? What can we do? How can we feed off each other? How can I help you? Coming up soon, 28th of March, touch a truck. We're going to go touch some equipment, put our fingers on buttons, make things move dirt, I mean, this kind of stuff. I invited a guy yesterday. He's coming, bringing his 2 daughters. It's reaching somebody and pulling them a little farther along. We reach out to others with the gospel. We invite, we set up studies, we conduct those studies, which goes back to what Chris was saying. There's so many opportunities that, it's been a long time since I sat in on a Bible study. I'd love to help. I'd love to just sit in and watch somebody learn the gospel. Call me. Call Chris. We'll make it happen this week. So we celebrate our babes in Christ. Had one this past Wednesday, born right up here. We celebrate that. We love them. We nurture them. We feed them. We encourage them. We instruct them. We discipline them. We help them grow and mature from milk to solid foods. We help them become the Timothys that will be sent out to encourage others, to remind, to help mature these others. We don't want them to stay babies. We don't want Bias. He goes by Bias. That's his last name. We don't want Bias to stay spiritually right where he is on Wednesday night. We want him to grow, right? That's what we do. We help them become functioning members of the body. All right, 1 Corinthians 3:6. Paul writing, I planted, Apollos watered, God gave the increase. Church in Corinth, Paul planted, Apollos watered, God gave the increase. If Paul hadn't done his part, if Apollos hadn't done his part, what's there for God to do? God wouldn't bless this church if the church hadn't been established, if it hadn't been matured to a point where God could save these people. And like Chris said, we're not talking corporate, we're talking individual. Hebrews 10:24 and 25. Let us consider one another in order to stir up love and good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together as is the manner of some, but exhorting one another, and so much more as you see the day approaching. So in these verses, let us, one another, that's the church, we're looking out for each other. I'm looking for your best interest, you're looking for my best interest. So we need to be in each other's lives. We need to be in conversations with each other. We need to encourage each other. As we're getting closer to the Lord's Day, man, I hope to see you Sunday. How's your week been going? We can reach out to each other. How have your studies gone this week? Mine fell apart. The guy didn't show up. Whatever. We can share that. So back to my grandchildren, where we started this. They're sweet. We love them. At all these different stages of their lives. We'll miss the innocence when they've matured past that. But we're greatly concerned that they not stay babies, that they grow up. So similar with did that second bell ring? Okay. If our young Christians didn't grow and mature, we should be probably more so concerned, at least as concerned, because we're talking about some heavenly stuff here. So we should be concerned for them. We need to see what we can do to help. So plug yourself into these lives, into these babies. Adopt a grandbaby. Adopt a new Christian. Help bring some of these people who are less mature. Help them become more mature. Share what you know. Share your life and your love with them and help them be who they need to be. Any final thoughts? Questions? Thank you.